All right, buckle up, everyone, because we're diving headfirst into the madness that was La Liga's Matchday 23.
Mandis is right. I mean, goals, upsets, you name it, it had it all.
I've got a whole stack of match summaries and stats right here, and let me tell you, this was one for the
I
books.
feel like La Liga knew we were doing this deep dive,
Uh-huh.
and they just decided to put on a show.
You know, I wouldn't put it past them, but really, by the end of this, you'll know exactly what went down, even if you think you've already seen it all.
Yeah, forget just watching the highlights. We're going deep
Exactly. Deep into the tactics, the standout performances.
and really figuring out, like, what does this all mean for the rest of the season, you know?
Okay, let's unpack this thing. First up, Rayo Vallecano pulled off a gutsy win, 1-0 against Real Valladolid.
It was a tight one.
Alvaro Garcia with the late goal, but honestly, it was their defense that really stood out to me.
Oh, absolutely. 69% possession, outshooting Valladolid. That wasn't luck. That was a seriously well-executed plan.
Rayo completely shut down Valladolid's attack.
Yeah, forced them into making mistakes, you know?
Love it. You know, it's a classic David versus Goliath story.
Right.
Shows how even when you're maybe not the most talented team on paper,
Right.
strategic play can still win the day. Okay, now let's talk about a match that was a little more, how do I put this, explosive.
Uh-huh.
Celta Vigo versus Real Betis.
Goals galore.
It was like a back and forth battle, momentum swings, just pure chaos, but like the good kind of chaos. Aspas, Vega, Iglesias, Fekir all got on the score sheet.
You just don't know what's going to happen next in these matches, and I think that's what makes La Liga so exciting.
Exactly. And on that note, speaking of unpredictable, we got to talk about Athletic Bilbao.
Oh, man.
They demolished Girona 3-0, Sanset Williams and Berenguer all finding the back of the net. But what blew me away
Now what you're going to say.
was how they completely neutralized Girona's attack. Not a single shot on target.
That's classic Bilbao, man.
Yeah.
That defensive wall, it's like they're back to their prime or something.
It really makes you wonder, could this be their season? Could they snag a European spot? Something to keep an eye on, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
But, you know, for every high, there's a low. And unfortunately, this weekend, that low belonged to Las Palmas. They had a good start, even took an early lead against Villarreal,
Brutal.
but ended up losing 2-1.
Talk about a gut punch, right?
Yeah, I can only imagine what the fans were going through. One minute you're celebrating, the next, it's like the rug's been pulled out from under you.
Yeah, but it's also Villarreal, right? Those guys are masters of the comeback.
It really goes to show how fast things can change in football.
Oh, in a heartbeat, yeah.
Now, the match everyone was waiting for, the big one, the Madrid derby,
Oh, yeah. Real Madrid, Atlético Madrid, always a good one.
sparks were definitely flying.
Intense.
But it ended in a 1-1 draw.
I was surprised.
I know, I was kind of expecting, more fireworks.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this actually tells us a lot about where both teams are at right now, though. Atletico had a plan. Frustrate Real, disrupt their flow, hit them on the counter. And, well, it worked.
You know what, you're right. It makes you wonder, have they figured out Real Madrid's weak points?
Could have huge implications down the line, especially for the title race.
Absolutely. Okay, but we gotta give some love to the other matches that, may not have gotten all the headlines.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure.
But still had their moments. Getafe snuck past Alavés 1-0 thanks to Unal.
Valencia looks strong.
Valencia dominated against Leganés 2-0. Real Sociedad got a tight win, 2-1 over Espanyol. And then we had Mallorca and Osasuna battling it out to a 1-1 draw.
Like, even the matches that on paper you think might be predictable, there's always something exciting happening.
Totally. Every game has its own little story, its own twists and turns.
Oh, sure.
But now, for the big kahuna, the match that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, this was the one.
Barcelona versus Sevilla. And I gotta say, this was not the nail-biter some were expecting.
No, not at all.
Barcelona just straight up demolished Sevilla 4-1.
A statement win for sure.
I think everyone, myself included, expected Sevilla to put up a bit more of a fight.
Yeah, me too.
Especially after they took that early lead.
I know.
But Barcelona, man, they just didn't panic.
Nope.
They stuck to their game plan.
Cool as cucumbers.
The passing was crisp.
So precise.
And then, boom, the goals just started pouring in.
Volodovsky, Fati, Pedri, Torres, they were unstoppable.
It was like watching a masterclass in attacking football.
Sevilla's defense just couldn't cope.
No, they had no answers. Honestly, it was kind of humbling for them, but for Barcelona,
It was a message. Yeah.
it was a declaration. We're here to win, and we're not messing around.
100%. And you know what? I think everyone else in La Liga heard that message loud and clear. Barcelona is back.
Okay, so we've covered the main highlights, the upsets, comebacks, all that jazz.
The roller coaster that was match day 23.
But now let's really get into the nitty-gritty. Let's break down some of these matches, look at those crucial moments, and see what they tell us about the bigger picture.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like, what does this all mean for La Liga this season?
Let's start with that Rayo Vallecano win. It wasn't just the scoreline, it was their whole approach. They came in with a plan and executed it perfectly. Those 3 points were well-deserved.
Oh, they earned those points.
Okay.
I mean, neutralizing Real Valladolid's attack like that's tactical genius. Makes you wonder, are we underestimating Rayo Vallecano this season?
Yeah, maybe we are. I mean, they just showed they can go toe-to-toe with the best, so you got to keep an eye on them.
Okay, now let's rewind back to that Celta Vigo Real Betis match.
Oh, that was a wild one.
5 goals, nonstop action, those momentum swings. It was like a footballing roller coaster.
Yeah, it was. And it just goes to show how quickly things can change in this sport.
Yeah.
One minute you're on top, the next you're scrambling to catch up.
And we're talking some world-class goals, too. Aspas, Vega, Iglesias, Fekir, they all had their moments of brilliance.
Yeah, a real showcase of attacking talent.
Exactly. And then you have Athletic Bilbao just shutting down Girona.
Oh yeah, that was a clinic. Total control from start to finish.
It wasn't just about the goals they scored, it was about how they never let Girona even get close.
And that defense, man, they were organized, disciplined. Girona barely had a chance.
So is this the Bilbao of old? Are they back to their best? I mean, a European spot, is that a real possibility?
It could be. They've got a solid team, great manager. They know how to play their game. Don't count them out.
Now, on the other side of the spectrum, you've got Las Palmas, a tough loss against Villarreal after that early lead.
Yeah, I felt for them. It's tough to have it in your grasp and then see it slip away.
It's Villarreal, though. They just have this knack for turning things around. Even when they're down, they've got this way of shifting the momentum back in their favor.
Moreno and Chukwueze up front, those guys are lethal finishers.
Any defender's nightmare, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Okay, let's talk about that clash of the Titans, the Madrid derby.
Yes. Real Madrid, Atlético Madrid, always a tense one.
One draw in the end. Honestly, I thought there would be more fireworks.
Me too. But, that draw actually tells us a lot about where these two teams stand right now.
How so?
Well, Atlético came in with a game plan. Frustrate Real Madrid, disrupt their flow, and hit them on the counterattack. And they executed it perfectly.
So Atlético has Real Madrid figured out. Could this be a sign of things to come in the title race?
It might be. We've got to keep a close eye on that.
Okay, before we move on, let's not forget about those other matches that might not have made the front pages but still had their moments. Getafe squeezing out a 1-0 win over Alavés, Valencia cruising past Leganés with a 2-0 victory, Real Sociedad edging out Espanyol in a tight 2-1 match, and Mallorca and Osasuna ending in a 1-1 draw. Every game had its own story.
It just goes to show you, in La Liga, every match is a battle.
Every single one.
You never know what's going to happen.
Okay, but now, the main event. Barcelona versus Sevilla. And let me tell you, this was not the close match some were predicting. Barcelona absolutely destroyed Sevilla 4-1.
A statement win if I've ever seen one.
I was expecting a tougher fight from Sevilla, especially after they took the lead early on.
Me too. It looked like they might have Barcelona on the ropes for a minute.
Right. But Barcelona, they just didn't flinch.
Nope.
They kept their composure, kept playing their game.
And those goals, it was like a master class in attacking football. Sevilla's defense just had no answers.
They just kept coming and coming. Lewandowski, Fati, Pedri, Torres, they were all on fire.
It was beautiful to watch, even if you weren't a Barcelona fan.
A tough lesson for Sevilla.
For sure.
But for Barcelona, it was a message to the rest of the league. They are back, and they are here to win.
No doubt about it. This Barcelona team is a force to be reckoned with.
So we've seen upsets, comebacks, tactical battles.
Goals, and more goals.
But now it's time to go deeper. Let's dissect some of these matches, those key moments, and really try to understand what they tell us about the bigger picture of La Liga this season.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with Rayo Vallecano. That win against Rayo Valladolid, it wasn't just about the final score, it was about how they approached the game. They had a plan, they stuck to it, and they earned those 3 points fair and square.
Agreed. They completely neutralized Valladolid's attack.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not easy to do. Are we maybe sleeping on Rayo Vallecano this year?
It's a good question. They've definitely shown us they're not a team to be taken lightly. Okay, now how about that goal fest? Celta Vigo and Real Betis. What a roller coaster ride. 5 goals, the lead changing hands, those incredible individual performances.
Aspas, Vega, Iglesias, Fekir, They all had their moments.
It was a reminder of just how quickly things can turn in this sport. One minute you're celebrating, the next you're biting your nail.
And that's what makes it so exciting. You just never know what's going to happen next.
Okay, let's shift gears to Athletic Bilbao's domination of Girona. It was a complete shutdown, a tactical masterclass. They controlled the tempo, the space, everything.
It was beautiful to watch, if you're a Bilbao fan, that is. Girona barely had a sniff at goal.
Exactly. So are we witnessing the return of the Bilbao we all know and fear? Could they be a dark horse in the race for a European spot?
It's definitely a possibility. They've got the talent, the experience, and now they're starting to show that consistency. It's going to be interesting to see how they develop over the rest of the season.
Okay, now let's talk about the flip side of that coin, Las Palmas. Tough loss against Villarreal after that early lead.
Yeah, heartbreaking for them, but Villarreal just has that knack for grinding out wins, even when they're not playing their best.
They seem to always find a way.
They never give up, and with Moreno and Chukwueze up front, they can always punish you if you make even the slightest mistake.
So, the Madrid derby. A 1-1 draw, not the explosive match many were hoping for, but do you think that result actually tells us more than we realize about these two teams?
I think it does. Atlético came in with a very specific game plan. Frustrate Real Madrid, disrupt their flow, and wait for their chance. And it worked.
So, does that mean Atletico has Real Madrid figured out? Could this be a sign of trouble for Real in the title race?
We'll have to wait and see, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. This draw could have some serious implications down the line.
Okay, let's take a quick look at the other matches. We had Getafe grinding out a 1-0 win over Alavés, Valencia putting on a dominant display against Leganés with a 2-0 victory, Real Sociedad edging out Espanyol in a tight 2-1 match, and Mallorca and Osasuna battling to a 1-1 draw. Every match had its own story, its own drama.
It just goes to show the depth and the competitiveness of La Liga.
Absolutely. Every week there's a story waiting to be told.
Every single one.
Okay, now for the match that had everyone buzzing. Barcelona's emphatic 4-1 victory over Sevilla. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement.
Oh yeah, they put the entire league on notice with that performance.
I don't think anyone expected them to be that dominant, especially after Sevilla took that early lead.
Nope. It looked like they might be in for a tough night, but they just brushed it off and kept playing their game.
It was almost like they were playing a different sport.
Yeah, their passing, their movement, their finishing, it was all just on another level.
Sevilla had no answer. It was a masterclass in attacking football.
And a huge statement of intent from Barcelona. They're back, they're hungry, and they're ready to reclaim their place at the top of La Liga.
So we've seen the highlights, we've talked about the drama.
But now it's time to really dig in.
Exactly. What do these results tell us about the bigger picture? What can we glean from the tactical battles, the individual performances?
And what does it all mean for the rest of the season?
Okay, let's start with Rayo Vallecano's impressive upset over Real Valladolid. They didn't just win, they dominated. Their tactics were spot on, completely stifling Valladolid's attack. Makes you wonder, are we underestimating this Rayo Vallecano team?
Yeah, it was a tactical masterclass. They came in with a plan, executed it perfectly, and deservedly took home all 3 points. They're a team that knows how to play to their strengths, and they're not afraid to take on the big boys. I think we need to start taking them seriously.
All right, how about that goal fest between Celta Vigo and Real Betis? 5 goals, back and forth action, momentum swings galore. It was pure entertainment.
That match was a testament to the attacking talent we're seeing in La Liga this season. We saw individual moments of brilliance. We saw tactical adjustments. We saw passion and intensity. It was a microcosm of everything that makes this league so captivating.
It was a reminder that in La Liga, any team can beat any other on any given day. You've got to be ready to fight for every inch of the pitch.
Absolutely. Complacency is not an option in this league.
Okay, let's talk about Athletic Bilbao. That 3-0 win over Girona, it wasn't just about the scoreline, it was about the way they controlled the game.
They were dominant from start to finish, both offensively and defensively. Their movement, their passing, their organization, it was all top-notch. Girona never really had a chance.
So, is this the Bilbao we all know and fear? The team that can grind out results, shut down opponents, and make life miserable for anyone who stands in their way?
It's starting to look that way. They've got a solid squad, a strong defensive foundation, and a manager who knows how to get the best out of his players. I wouldn't be surprised to see them challenging for a European spot this season.
And then we have Las Palmas, a tough loss to Villarreal after that early lead. It's always heartbreaking to see a team come so close and then fall short.
It's a cruel reminder that momentum can shift so quickly in football. One minute you're on top of the world, the next you're scrambling to stay in the game. Villarreal is a team that never gives up, and they've got two incredibly talented attackers in Moreno and Chukwueze who can punish any defense that makes a mistake.
It was a tough lesson for Las Palmas, but a valuable one nonetheless. You can't afford to let your guard down, not even for a second, in this league.
Absolutely. Every match is a battle, and you got to be ready to fight for every inch of the pitch.
Okay, the Madrid derby. A 1-1 draw. Not the fireworks display many were hoping for, but still a fascinating tactical battle.
It was a match played with incredible intensity and tactical awareness. Both teams were so well organized, so disciplined, that neither one could really break through. It was a chess match, with both managers making subtle adjustments, trying to find a way to unlock the other team's defense.
Do you think that draw tells us anything about the state of both teams? Is Real Madrid maybe showing some vulnerability? And is Atletico Madrid a real contender in the title race?
It's definitely something to think about. Atletico Madrid showed they're capable of frustrating even the best teams in the league, and they have the defensive solidity to grind out results against anyone. And Real Madrid, while they're still a force to be reckoned with, they haven't been quite as dominant as we've seen them in the past. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond in the coming weeks.
Okay, let's take a quick spin through the other matches. We saw Getafe grinding out a 1-0 win over Alavés, Valencia cruising to a 2-0 victory against Leganés, Real Sociedad edging out Espanyol in a 2-1 thriller, and Mallorca and Osasuna battling to a 1-1 draw. It was another reminder of just how competitive and unpredictable La Liga can be.
Every match is a battle, every point is precious, and every team is capable of springing a surprise.
Okay, and now for the main event, Barcelona's emphatic 4-1 victory over Sevilla. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement. They showed everyone their back, and they're ready to challenge for the title.
It was a masterclass in attacking football. They controlled the tempo, they created chance after chance, and they finished with clinical precision. Sevilla simply couldn't handle their movement, their passing, their relentless pressure.
So is this the Barcelona of old? The team that can dominate possession, overwhelm opponents, and score goals for fun?
It certainly looks that way. They're playing with a confidence and swagger we haven't seen from them in a while. And they have a potent attacking force that can strike fear into any defense. The rest of La Liga should be on notice. Barcelona is back.
Okay, so we've seen the highlights, we've talked about the drama, but now it's time to really dig in. What do these results tell us about the bigger picture? What can we glean from the tactical battles, the individual performances, and what does it all mean for the rest of the season?
Let's get tactical. Starting with Rayo Vallecano. That win, it wasn't a fluke, it was a well-executed plan. They knew how to shut down Real Valladolid's attack, and they capitalized on their chances.
A real underdog story. And that Celta Vigo Real Betis match, 5 goals, those momentum swings, what a showcase of attacking football. It just goes to show, in La Liga, you never know what's going to happen next.
Every match is a battle, and anyone can win on any given day.
Speaking of battles, how about Athletic Bilbao just shutting down Girona completely?
Yeah.
Is this the Bilbao of old? Are they back? Could they even be a dark horse in the race for Europe?
It's possible. They're definitely a team on the rise, and that defensive solidity is something special. Don't underestimate them.
Now, on the other side of things, you've got Las Palmas. A tough loss after that early lead against a Villarreal team that just knows how to win.
Villarreal never gives up. They can be down, but they always believe they can come back. And with Moreno and Chukwueze up front, they've got the firepower to make it happen.
So the Madrid derby, not exactly the fireworks we were hoping for, but that draw, that tense tactical battle, it tells its own story, doesn't it?
It does. Atletico frustrated Real, disrupted their flow, and ultimately earned a point. It makes you wonder, has Atletico figured out Real Madrid's weaknesses?
Could this have a big impact on the title race? Only time will tell. But let's not forget about all the other matches. Getafe grabbing that win, Valencia cruising, Real Sociedad in a tight one, and Mallorca, Osasuna battling it out. Every match had its own little story, its own drama.
It's what makes La Liga so special, the depth, the competition, the unpredictability.
Absolutely, you never know what's going to happen. But one thing's for sure, that Barcelona win over Sevilla, it was a statement.
It was a message to the rest of La Liga. We're back.
That attacking display, the way they just dismantled Sevilla's defense, it was a reminder of what Barcelona can do when they're at their best.
And they're definitely looking like they're getting close to their best right now. It's going to be very interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out.
All right, we've seen the highlights, we've talked about the drama, but now let's go deeper. Let's really break down these matches, those key moments, and see what they tell us about the bigger picture of La Liga this season. What's the story that's unfolding?
Let's start with Rayo Vallecano. They went into that match with a clear plan, and they executed it perfectly. They frustrated Valladolid, forced them into mistakes, and capitalized on their chances. It was a tactical masterclass.
And that Celta Vigo Real Betis match, pure chaos, goals galore, those momentum swings. It was like a microcosm of everything that makes a Liga so exciting, so unpredictable.
Absolutely. You never know what's going to happen next in this league, and that's what makes it so compelling.
Okay, Athletic Bilbao shutting down Girona. A defensive masterclass, a statement win. Is this the return of the Bilbao we all know and fear?
It might be. They're looking very strong defensively, and they've got the attacking talent to punish teams when they get the chance. It's going to be interesting to see how far they can go.
Now, let's talk about Las Palmas. A heartbreaking loss after taking that early lead against Villarreal.
It was a reminder that momentum can shift so quickly in football. Villarreal, even when they're down, they never give up, and they've got the quality to punish any team that lets their guard down.
And what about that Madrid derby? A draw, but it felt like more than just a draw. It felt like a statement from Atlético Madrid.
Absolutely. They showed they can go toe-to-toe with Real Madrid, they can frustrate them, they can make life difficult. It's a sign that Atlético is a serious contender this season.
And let's not forget about all those other matches, each with its own twists and turns, its own drama. Getafe grinding out that win, Valencia cruising, Real Sociedad in a nail-biter, and Mallorca, Osasuna battling it out to a draw. It's a reminder of just how competitive and unpredictable La Liga is.
Every single week there's a new story waiting to be told.
And then you have Barcelona's demolition of Sevilla. What a statement.
They showed everyone their back, they're hungry for the title, and they're not afraid to make a statement.
Okay, so we've seen the highlights, we've talked about the drama, but now it's time to really go deep. What do these results tell us about the bigger picture? What can we glean from the tactical battles, the individual performances, and what does it all mean for the rest of the season? Let's start with Rayo Vallecano. They didn't just win, they dominated. Their tactics were spot on. It was a real tactical masterclass.
Agreed. They neutralized Real Valladolid's attack, forced them into mistakes, and capitalized on their chances. It was a clinic in efficiency and tactical awareness.
And that Celta Vigo Real Betis match, 5 goals, incredible individual performances. It was a testament to the attacking talent we're seeing in La Liga this season.
It was a roller coaster ride of emotions and a reminder that in La Liga, anything can happen. You just never know what you're going to get.
Okay, let's talk about Athletic Bilbao shutting down Girona. A defensive masterclass. Is this the Bilbao of old? Are they back? Could they be a dark horse in the race for Europe?
It's definitely a possibility. They're looking very strong defensively, and they've got the attacking talent to punish teams.
Now, let's talk about that heartbreaking loss for Las Palmas after taking that early lead against Villarreal.
Villarreal, they just find ways to win. They never give up, and they have the quality to punish you when you least expect it.
And what about that Madrid derby? A draw, but it felt like more than just a draw.
It felt like a statement from Atlético Madrid. They showed they can go toe-to-toe with the best, frustrate them, and make life difficult. It's a sign that Atlético is a serious contender this season.
And let's not forget all those other matches, each with its own unique story, its own drama. Getafe grinding out that win, Valencia cruising, Real Sociedad in a nail-biter, and Mallorca and Osasuna battling it out.
La Liga is full of surprises. You just never know what's going to happen.
And then you have Barcelona's demolition of Sevilla. What a statement.
They show the entire league. They're back. And they're not messing around.
Okay, so we've seen the highlights, but now it's time to really go deep. Let's break down some of these matches and see what they tell us about the bigger picture of La Liga this season.
I'm ready when you are. Let's start with Rayo Vallecano. They went into that match with a clear plan, they executed it perfectly, and they got a well-deserved victory.
And how about Celta Vigo, Real Betis, back and forth, goals galore, a real roller coaster.
5 goals, both teams playing attacking football. It was pure entertainment.
Okay, Athletic Bilbao, completely shutting down Girona. What a performance.
Yeah, defensively they were rock solid. Girona barely had a look at goal.
So, is this the Bilbao we all know? Are they back? Could they even be a dark horse in the race for a European spot?
It's definitely a possibility. They're looking good. Don't underestimate them.
Now, unfortunately for Las Palmas, they let that lead slip away against a very tough Villarreal side.
Tough loss for them, but that's Villarreal. They just find ways to win. Even when they're not playing their best, they can pull something out of the bag.
And the Madrid derby, a draw, but a very interesting draw.
Atlético Madrid, They came in with a plan, and they frustrated Real.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder if they figured out Real's weaknesses. Could this have a big impact on the title race?
Possibly. But it's still early days. We've got a lot of football left to play.
All right, let's not forget about all those other matches. Getafe, Valencia, Real Sociedad, Mallorca, Osasuna, all great matches in their own right.
Absolutely. Every match has its own story.
And then, of course, Barcelona just destroying Sevilla.
What a performance. They were just too good.
Okay, so we've covered the main highlights, the upsets, the comebacks, the goals, but now it's time to really dig in. Let's break down some of these matches, analyze those key moments, and see what they tell us about the bigger picture of La Liga this season.
I'm all for it. Let's start with Rayo Vallecano. They were absolutely brilliant. Tactically, they were spot on.
That Celta Vigo Real Betis match was just pure entertainment.
Back and forth action, 5 goals. You couldn't ask for more.
Athletic Bilbao, defensively, they were rock solid against Girona.
They didn't give Girona an inch.
So is this the Bilbao we all know? Are they back? Could they be a dark horse for a European spot?
They're definitely a team to watch. They're looking very good.
And then we have Las Palmas. It's always tough to lose a match after taking an early lead.
Yeah, especially against a team like Villarreal. They just know how to win, even when they're not at their best.
And that Madrid derby, it may have ended in a draw, but it was a fascinating tactical battle.
Atletico Madrid came in with a plan to frustrate Real, and they executed it perfectly.
Makes you wonder if they figured out Real's weaknesses. Could this have a big impact on the title race down the line?
It's certainly possible. We'll have to wait and see.
And of course, we can't forget about Barcelona absolutely destroying Sevilla.
A statement win if ever I saw one.
Okay, so we've covered all the major points from this incredible match day, but now it's time to dive deeper. Let's dissect these matches, look at the tactics, the individual performances, and see what it all means for the rest of the La Liga season. Starting with Rayo Vallecano's upset win. It wasn't just about the final score, it was about the way they approached the match.
They were organized, they were disciplined, and they had a clear game plan.
And then that Celta Vigo Real Betis match, 5 goals, back and forth action, what a game.
Both teams playing attacking football, it was a joy to watch. All right, so let's dig into the tactics a bit here.
Let's get tactical. What was the secret sauce behind Rayo Vallecano shutting down Real Valladolid's attacks so effectively?
Well, it was their high press for sure. They never let Valladolid settle, kept them on their toes.
So it wasn't about just like sitting back and absorbing pressure.
No, not at all. This was about dictating the pace, forcing Valladolid into those rush passes.
So they created those turnovers, capitalized on Valladolid's mistakes.
Exactly. And, this is something we're seeing a lot more of in La Liga lately.
Really?
Yeah. Teams are realizing that defending is just as much about controlling the game.
As it is about, the actual defending part.
Right, exactly. It's not just about parking the bus anymore. It's about disrupting the other team's rhythm.
Makes sense. Okay, now, Celta Vigo, Real Betis, that was an offensive explosion. Goals from everywhere. What were the tactical elements at play there?
I think both teams went in with a very attacking mindset. I mean, Celta Vigo's high press early on, that led to those quick goals. But then Betis, they responded well, using their wide players to stretch Celta's defense.
It was like a constant game of adjustments.
Oh, yeah. One team would try something, the other would counter.
Yeah.
Back and forth the whole time.
But in the end, it felt like Celta Vigo's midfield just kind of took control.
Yeah. They were able to control the tempo, especially in that second half, which I think made a big difference.
Okay, on to another dominant performance. Athletic Bilbao, 3-0 over Girona. Not just about the goals, it was that control they had over the match. How did they do it?
Bilbao's game was like a perfect blend of attack and defense. They were moving the ball with precision, creating those overloads out wide, and the movement off the ball.
So it wasn't just individual brilliance?
No, it was a complete team performance. Everyone knew their role, and they executed it perfectly.
That's when you know a team's clicking, when everyone's on the same page.
Oh, for sure. And that's what makes them so dangerous. They can hurt you in so many different ways.
Now let's talk about a match that went the other way, Las Palmas. Early lead, but ended up losing to Villarreal. Where did things unravel for them?
I think maybe they got a little complacent after that early goal. They sat back, let Villarreal control the pace, and I think that was their downfall.
Villarreal, those guys are known for their possession-based game.
Exactly. They're patient, they wait for their moment, and then boom, they strike.
And with Moreno and Chikwueze up top, they can turn those moments into goals in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah. You give them even a little bit of space, they'll make you pay for it.
Okay, let's talk about the match everyone was waiting for, the Madrid derby. It was a tactical battle for sure, ending in a draw. What were some of the key moments you noticed?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing was just how cautious both teams were.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly the end-to-end action some people were hoping for.
No, not really. It was more like a chess match.
Yeah.
Each team respecting the other, but also a bit afraid to commit too much. Real Madrid tried to control possession, but Atletico was content to sit back, absorb the pressure, and look for those counterattacking opportunities.
And in the end, it was a stalemate. Does this tell us anything about the title race, do you think? I mean, does it show that Atletico is a serious contender?
I think it does. They've got that defensive strength to frustrate anyone. And with Griezmann back, they've got a real threat up front. They're a team that could definitely push Real Madrid and Barcelona all the way.
Okay, let's quickly touch on some of the other results. Getafe got a 1-0 win over Alavés.
Classic Getafe, efficient and organized.
Valencia looked pretty dominant in their 2-0 win against Leganés. And then we had Real Sociedad getting a hard-fought 2-1 victory over Espanyol.
Yeah, Sociedad had to work for that one, but they showed a lot of character to get the win.
And then Mallorca and Osasuna battling it out for a 1-1 draw.
It was a good, even match. Both teams played well, and a draw was probably a fair result in the end.
Okay, now for the match everyone's been buzzing about. Barcelona's 4-1 thrashing of Sevilla. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement.
Absolutely. They showed everyone in La Liga, we're back, and we're here to win it all.
You know, what impressed me the most was how they responded after conceding that early goal. They didn't panic, they just kept to their game plan and eventually just overwhelmed Sevilla.
Yeah, they didn't let that early goal rattle them at all. They just kept the pressure on, kept moving the ball, and eventually the goals started to flow.
It was like they were playing a different sport at times. The passing, the movement, the finishing, it was all just so fluid, so precise.
Sevilla had no answer. They just couldn't cope with Barcelona's intensity and attacking prowess.
So, what does this win tell us about Barcelona's title chances this season? Are they the team to beat now?
It's definitely a statement of intent. They've shown that they can beat anyone in the league, and they're playing with a confidence and swagger that's going to be hard to stop.
But we can't forget about Real Madrid, the defending champions. They're not going to give up their title easily.
No, they won't. And they still have a lot of quality in their squad. But they need to find that consistency, that killer instinct that's been missing at times this season.
And then there's Atletico Madrid, looking very dangerous under Simeone. Could they be the dark horse in this title race?
They could be. They're defensively solid, they've got Griezmann backfiring on all cylinders, and they know how to win ugly. If they can maintain this level of performance, they'll definitely be in the mix come the end of the season.
So it looks like we have a three-horse race for the title this season. Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid, all with a legitimate shot at glory. It's going to be a fascinating battle to watch unfold.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about the battle for the European places, which is just as intense. There are so many teams vying for those coveted Champions League and Europa League spots. It's going to be a fight to the finish.
Okay, we've talked about the specific matches, but now let's zoom out a bit. What are some of the bigger tactical trends you've noticed in La Liga this season?
Well, one thing that's becoming very clear is the increasing importance of high pressing. Teams are realizing that defense isn't just about sitting back and absorbing pressure. It's about being proactive, disrupting the opponent's buildup, forcing them into mistakes, and winning the ball back high up the pitch.
It's a more aggressive, more dynamic style of play, and it's certainly making for a more exciting and unpredictable league.
Absolutely. And it's not just the big teams who are doing it. We're seeing it from teams all over the table, which is a testament to how the game is evolving.
Another tactical trend we're seeing is the use of inverted fullbacks. They're tucking in, almost playing as auxiliary midfielders, while the wingers provide the width.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
And it's a tactic that's proving to be very effective. It allows teams to overload the midfield, create numerical superiority, and control the tempo of the game.
It also gives the fullbacks more opportunities to get involved in the attack, which is something we're seeing more and more of in modern football.
Exactly. And it's a trend that I think we're only going to see more of in the future.
And finally, I think we're seeing a greater emphasis on tactical flexibility. Teams are switching formations mid-game, adapting to their opponents, and being more fluid in their approach.
That's right. The days of rigid formations are gone. Modern football is all about adaptability, being able to change your approach on the fly, and having players who are comfortable playing in multiple positions.
It's making the game more complex, more challenging, and ultimately more exciting for the fans.
Absolutely. La Liga is always evolving, and this season is no different. We're seeing new tactics, new trends, and new stars emerging all the time. It's a privilege to be a part of it.
Okay, we've talked about tactics, but let's not forget about the individual brilliance that lights up this league week in, week out. Let's start with the goalkeepers, those unsung heroes who often make the difference between winning and losing.
One performance that really impressed me this week was Stol Dimitrievski for Rayo Vallecano. He was absolutely immense, making save after save to keep his team in the game.
He was a wall. It's easy to focus on the goal scorers, but sometimes it's the goalkeeper who's the real hero.
Absolutely. And Dimitrievski's performance was a reminder of just how important a good goalkeeper can be.
Okay, moving on to the defenders. We saw some rock-solid performances this week.
Inigo Martinez for Athletic Bilbao was outstanding. He was a dominant presence at the back, winning headers, making tackles, and organizing his defense with authority. He was a key factor in their clean sheet against Girona.
He's the leader, the anchor of that Bilbao defense.
Absolutely. And he's not just a defender, he's also very comfortable on the ball, starting attacks from deep. He's a complete modern-day center back.
Another young defender who's really impressed me this season is Jules Koundé for Sevilla. He's still only 24, but he plays with such maturity and composure. He's quick, strong, and reads the game so well. He's going to be a world-class defender.
He was one of the few bright spots for Sevilla in their defeat to Barcelona. He had a tough task trying to contain Lewandowski and Fati, but he acquitted himself very well.
Okay, let's move into the midfield where we're seeing some really exciting young talents emerge.
Pedri for Barcelona is just a joy to watch. He's only 19, but he plays with such maturity and intelligence. His passing, his vision, his movement, it's all so effortless. He's already one of the best midfielders in the league.
He's drawing comparisons to Iniesta, and you can see why. He has that same elegance, that same ability to dictate the tempo of a match. He's a special talent.
And then you have Eduardo Camavinga at Real Madrid. He's only 18, but he's already a key player for them. He's so dynamic, so powerful, and he covers every blade of grass. He's the future of Real Madrid's midfield.
Okay, now let's talk about the attackers, those players who get the fans off their seats and make the headlines. And La Liga is blessed with some of the best attackers in the world.
Robert Lewandowski, the man leading the race for the Pichichi, is in a class of his own. He's so clinical in front of goal, and he's a nightmare for defenders.
He's just a goal-scoring machine. And he's not just a poacher. He's also a very intelligent player, always making the right runs, creating space for his teammates. He's a complete striker.
And then you have Karim Benzema, the reigning Ballon d'Or winner. He's still one of the most complete forwards in the world, capable of scoring goals, creating chances, and leading the line with his intelligence and experience.
Those two are in a league of their own, but there's so much other attacking talent in La Liga. Iago Aspas for Celta Vigo is always a threat with his creativity and finishing ability. Antoine Griezmann is back to his best for Atlético Madrid, scoring goals and linking up play brilliantly. And then there's the young guns, Vinicius Jr. for Real Madrid, Ansu Fati for Barcelona, Samuel Chukwueze for Villarreal. The future of La Liga is in good hands.
It really is. We're seeing a new generation of attacking stars emerge, and it's making the league more exciting than ever.
It's been an incredible journey so far, breaking down the tactics, analyzing the performances, and trying to make sense of this beautiful, chaotic, and utterly unpredictable league that is La Liga. But we want to hear from you, our listeners. What were your key takeaways from this match day? Which tactical trends caught your eye? Which individual performances impressed you the most? Let us know your thoughts.
And as you reflect on all the action, remember, this is just the beginning. There's still so much more to come this season. We'll be back next week to break down another round of La Liga madness, so stay tuned and keep the passion for the beautiful game burning bright. You know, after a match day like that, there's so much to unpack.
I know. It's not just about the scores, right? It's about those bigger storylines.
Yeah, exactly. What do these results tell us about the power dynamics in the league, you know?
Right, right. What are the narratives that are starting to emerge?
Well, for me, one thing that's becoming pretty clear is that Barcelona is back.
Yeah.
I mean, that win against Sevilla, that wasn't just a fluke.
No, it was dominant.
It was a continuation of what we've been seeing from them all season. That confidence, those goals, they're playing with a real purpose now.
Yeah, it feels like they've rediscovered that classic Barcelona style.
The tiki-taka, the possession-based game, it's beautiful to watch when it's working.
But the big question is, can they keep this up? La Liga is a marathon, not a sprint.
Right. They've set a high bar for themselves. The pressure's on to keep delivering these kinds of performances.
And then you have Real Madrid, the defending champs. They're not going to just roll over.
No, definitely not. But that draw against Atletico, it does raise some questions. Like, can they be as consistently dominant as they have been in the past?
It seems like they're still trying to find their rhythm this season.
Yeah, I think they're still figuring things out. They're relying heavily on Benzema's brilliance, but they're missing that extra spark, that creative edge they've had in previous years.
And then there's Atletico. They're looking pretty dangerous under Simeone, as always.
Atletico's always a threat. That defensive solidity, it's their trademark. But this season, they're showing a bit more attacking flair, too, especially with Griezmann back.
Yeah, he's been fantastic.
You can never count Atletico out. They know how to grind out results, make life difficult for their opponents, and if they can find a bit more consistency in attack.
They could be a real problem for Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it seems like we have a three-way race for the title.
It's going to be a good one.
But, La Liga is never that simple.
Right.
We've got teams like Real Sociedad, Villarreal, even Rayo Vallecano. They're all showing they can hang with the big boys.
This is what I love about La Liga. You just never know. There's always a team, a player ready to shake things up.
It keeps things interesting.
For sure.
And let's not forget about the battle for the European spots. That's always intense.
Oh, yeah. Every point is crucial. Those Champions League and Europa League spots, everyone wants them.
So as we look ahead, what are some of the big questions that need to be answered? What are the key storylines you're watching?
Well, for Barcelona, can they maintain this form? Can they stay healthy? Stay focused? Because the pressure's going to be on them now.
And for Real Madrid, how do they respond to this challenge from Barcelona, from Atletico? Do they make any moves in the transfer window?
And then, yeah, that battle for those European spots. Which team's going to rise to the occasion? Who's going to crumble under the pressure?
So many questions.
And that's the beauty of La Liga. It's unpredictable, it's exciting, and it's never boring.
We could talk about this all day, but unfortunately we're out of time.
I know, it goes by so fast.
But it's been another fantastic deep dive into the world of La Liga. We've seen upsets, comebacks, tactical masterclasses, individual brilliance. It's been a wild ride.
As always.
A huge thanks to you, our listeners, for joining us on this journey. Keep the passion for the beautiful game alive, and we'll be back next week to break down another exciting chapter of La Liga action. Until then, adios.